Good morning. Welcome to day 14 of our intentional balance challenge. Day 14. Week 2. We completed week 2. My name is Kelley Duren-Jones. If we haven't met, if this is your first time, again, welcome to our 21-day intentional balance challenge. It's our annual challenge. It's year 4. And our topic this year is Hearts Made New for 2026. Today's title, let me get settled. Today's title is Renewal Through Rest, and we'll jump right in. Welcome. So we have made it to day 14, and it's been a wonderful transition of Hearts Made New, working on our heart posture. I've received several testimonies of aha moments, eye opening moments, reminders, because sometimes we need to be reminded and refreshed and have some accountability to our growth, right? So over the past 7 days, because today is day 14, we started, we stared down the chains and broke some chains of perfectionism, right? We learned to loosen the grip of shame, um, confronted some challenges of self forgiveness. And some of us discovered new ways to let God's truth just set us free, to clean up our heart posture, to pour into us, and to give us some challenge to release and some opportunities of release, I should say. I don't know about you, but I can't help but look back at even the 14 days ago, 16 days ago, how my life, how my choices, how my thoughts have been transformed with doing this work. So whether today is the first day or you've been with us a couple days or you plan to catch up because it's all available on our channel, make sure you subscribe and share because this is an appointment that we have. If you're here, it's because you're supposed to be here, whether this is your first day or you've been here multiple days. And you can also always watch it anytime during the day, right? So even though we're live, if you're live with us, say hello. If you're watching the replay, let us know that it's replay and let us know where you're watching from. And drop a nugget of if you've had an aha moment. Maybe you don't want to, maybe it's personal, you don't want to share the actual moment or the actual thing, but just let us know that God is moving and transitioning while He's making our hearts new. This time frame for me has been moments of being vulnerable, sharing things. This challenge is something that God put on my heart for me to share with you so that we can all do this work together annually and some other stuff to continue it throughout the year. So that's why it's important to subscribe. So, whatever it is, give yourself some grace in this newness in doing this work and go deeper because God has something great for us. Think about this. What changed in your heart since we started this if you've been with us? What what do you absolutely know was a transitional moment? If you've been doing the work, you have experienced something because that was a promise that he made. That was a confirmation that I received that if you do the work in this challenge, then you will receive something from God, some level of freedom, some level of release. Good morning. That was his promise that I received with confirmation. So where have you noticed those shifts? Whether you consider them small or big, make sure you're taking note of that in your journal, because when you see progress, it just strengthens you somehow to keep going, right? Even if it's considered small. And for me, there's no small or big wins. It's just wins. If it's a baby step, it's a step. And I'm thankful for it. And I'm thankful for having the opportunity to grow with you on this journey. Maybe it was in your mindset, maybe something physical. I had a testimony about some physical breakthroughs and some aha moments and some things that were brought up from that they didn't even know they were carrying, that was brought to the forefront so that it can be released. So I'm just happy that we're all here together. And again, welcome to day 14. So today's topic is um, actually tomorrow's topic that we're going to talk about um, is the joy of obedience. So I'm looking forward to what God has for us for that as well. Not just about rules, but stepping into a deeper assignment in partnership with God, right? And it's important in friendships and relationships, we take audit of our partnerships and our circles. And we're going to talk about that this week. So stay connected. But for today, and I won't hold you long because today is an intentional day of rest for the challenge. To rest, reflect, and let God renew us from the inside out. So again, today is day 14. We want to take a deep breath, inhale grace and exhale the hustle and the bustle, which just happens in life. But today we're going to intentionally rest. We're going to make today impactful. We want to get right to it so that we can get to the rest part because I think we all need it, right? We all are going to intentionally do that today. So our topic for today is renewal through rest. We talked about rest on day 7. So if you missed that, go check out day 7 as well. And if you have the journal, then there's a mental health assessment that's after every 7 days. So that's on today. That's part of the rest, taking an audit and then resting, right? So I want to make sure you complete that today. It's a vital checkpoint for our heart and for our mind. Um, because we want to make sure that we're creating those healthy habits. And that's what that assessment is for. If you are registered for the challenge, you also received a printout, a digital download that you can print out, whether you purchase the book or not, right? Because it's a part of what we need to do in this 21 days. And you'll also find the other bonus from last week, and today you'll get an additional bonus. So let's just jump right into it. Let me ask you a question. Are you tired? That's a loaded question, right? Are you tired? Or, in any area of your life? I don't just mean physically tired, because some of us are literally physically tired too. But I just mean the kind of tired where your eyes are heavy. Sometimes your heart is heavy. Like, I'm just tired, right? That's a loaded word. Soul tired, mental tired. I'm just tired. I just need a nap, that kind of tired. And just in my heart, I'm tired. The kind of exhaustion that sleep doesn't fix. In our culture, we have this busyness, and it's almost worn like a badge of honor. We treat rest as a weakness sometimes. Like, I ain't got time to be laying around. I got to get stuff done. Um, a luxury for people that's not as driven as we are. We gotta I got things to do. I got a schedule. There's no intentional time that's planned. It's just go, 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 go. We pile on the responsibilities. And sometimes I feel guilty for sitting still. If, even during my intentional rest, I have to say, no, this time is scheduled to rest. This time, this day, whatever it is time to rest because it's just there's always something to do. And we carry these responsibilities. We have expectations of ourselves, and people have expectations that we're trying to get it all done. Even sometimes with our job, we're bringing it home, whether you're an entrepreneur or you're, working a 9 to 5. Entrepreneurs is really hard to disconnect, especially when you work from home from your job or from, your own business, because now your home has become your brain is telling you this, you got to finish one more thing, or let me get this done so I can be, on Monday when I get to work or start work, I can, have it all together. But you need intentional breaks and intentional rest. Um, Sometimes we carry burdens that it's not even ours to carry. We pick up other people's stuff because we have a heart to help people and to try to, give them some relief. And so we're piling on their burdens on top of our burdens, our heartache, their heartache on top of our heartache. And sometimes you just need to pray for people and let it go. Sometimes you need to pray for yourself and let it go and trust that God is going to show us what to do, show them what to do, show how I can help, because you're thinking about it and running out to help rescue other people when you need to sometimes just pray for them and sit still. And then we wonder why we're so fragile. Sometimes you're just consumed with life, with things, mentally, physically. Your health is showing it. Um, you can feel it. You're irritable, or you just feel, you're sad, sorrowful. And so, we live as though the entire world depends on us to keep moving. And it doesn't. And also, if you're broken and sick and, mentally unhealthy, you can't help anybody anyway. You can't even help yourself. So just like on the airplane when they tell you to take care of yourself first, that's what we need to do in real life. They tell you, make sure you put your mask on first before you try to help somebody else. Because that's just a reflection of, you can't help somebody if you're not if you don't have enough oxygen for yourself, you can't help somebody else. So get that done so that it opens you to be able to function freely and function in the capacity that you need to do. So, our scripture for today is Matthew 11:28 through 30. And it says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and your burden is light." My burden is light. So, did you catch that? Come unto me, all who are weary and burdened. And if you're not weary and burdened in this season, because we shouldn't be continuously weary and burdened, right? If you are, you need to seek some help. Therapy, a coach, your pastor, your sister or brother that you can trust. But he says, "Come to me, and I will give you rest." Um, it doesn't just promise a nap, a temporary fix. Um, his promise is rest for your soul, that one that sleep doesn't fix, right? And this isn't about being lazy. Rest is actual and an intentional discipline that we have. It's a weapon of warfare almost, because when you're tired, you can't think straight, you don't make good decisions, against stress, against anxiety, against life decisions. Have you ever made a decision tired and then you're like, what was I thinking when I did that? When I said yes to that? Why? Oh my goodness! Now I got to show up here because I said yes, and I should have really thought it out, right? So when you choose to stop, you know, um, and pause and take a moment and maybe pray or think with clarity. So you're just saying that God is God, and I am trusting you, and I'm gonna lay down and go to sleep and not have it running in my mind all night. Because half the time that's why we're not sleeping. We never turn off. We're, ending our day with your phone, your tablet, the TV, all this blue lights. Your mind is constantly going. You're thinking about what you're gonna have to address tomorrow. We need to have a nighttime routine that releases us to be able to trust God and go to sleep, because his yoke is easy. Like, we talked about breaking chains. I think it was day 12. Um, and how we dragging all these things around, and you just never, you're bruised, you're broken. You have all these responsibilities, and do an audit, write on a sheet of paper all the things that are your responsibilities. And then on the other side of the sheet, write down all the things that you carry from other people. And then at the bottom of that sheet, because, somewhere on there, maybe make a middle column that says, what are the things that I'm giving to God? What are the things? And cross off those things that are out of your control and move them over to what, I'm just trusting God for. And the things that you're carrying for other people, release yourself from those, even if it's temporarily while you work on the things that you need to work on. It's simply exchanging our heavy, ill fitting things that we have in our life, and just being reliant on God's grace and his promises and the work that we need to do to receive those promises. We're in partnership with him. He's our father. Think about it as a natural father. Some things you just don't have to worry about, because your natural father is going to take care of it. Your heavenly father is going to take care of it. And then there's the part that we just don't say enough sometimes. If your rest feels restorative, does it feel like you're restored when you rest? If it's never restorative, then it's worth checking in on your physical health too, because the lack of rest and the lack of sleep, and there are two different things. The rest is will cause you to start having some physical things going on. So remember on day 7 when we talked about the different types of rest. So go back to that if you need to revisit that, or if you haven't seen it. Let's just take a moment to talk about the difference between sleep and rest. Sleep is a physical need, right? Our bodies can't function well without it. Um, and if you look up the definition of sleep and the different sleep realms, you'll kind of understand why sometimes you wake up like you never went to sleep. Our bodies can't function without sleep. So if you go a long time, it will show up physically. Because and if you have things going on with your body, it actually helps with the healing, your memory, your energy, all of those things. But rest is more than closing your eyes and going to sleep. Rest can be physical and emotional, spiritual and mental. It's the intentional pause. That's for your spiritual life, for your soul. It releases anxiety. It can reconnect you to God in peace and joy and clarity. Sleep restores your body, but the rest renews and restores your spirit and gives you peace that you can't get from sleep or a nap. Both are gifts, both are um, necessary, both are important, but that rest that we get from God will help you to go to sleep. It's the whole package. And it just brings that freedom, and that hard work that we're doing can't be to the fullest potential without you getting sleep and rest. So it's important in these days, and that we make it a healthy habit to keep that going. So, trust, that true rest is a space where we remember that God's strength is made perfect in us through our surrender. So let's commit to doing that today. So let's make this practical for your journal prompt today. Just, we're going to keep it light because we're intentionally resting. we're just going to thank God today for giving us the space to rest. Just write about how, gratitude today. It could be a list, it could be a prayer, it could be a statement. Let's just thank God for giving us the opportunity to rest and renew ourselves, right? And our action step, literally take at least 15 minutes. And I really want you to try to do is a good hour today of intentional rest, not scrolling on your phone. Maybe that could be the 15 minutes, not scrolling on your phone, not watching the TV, finding a quiet space, turning off the inside and outside noise, and simply sit in silence. Let's do that for 15 minutes. Just simply, and then for the rest of that hour, just read something that's comforting or, just rest. 1 hour. Take that 15 minutes to stop the scroll and the not resting from work and cleaning up, not doing that. Because I've traded rest for housework, and that's not rest. But just being intentional with that. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. Um, because when tasks and worries and planning, making a checklist for the week, because I do my scheduling on Sundays, my rest day, and that's not a part of my rest time, right? I just take an hour out, I block out an hour to schedule so that my planning can go smoothly. But this is not that time. Just sit still as long as you can and try to clear your mind and actually rest. And remember to just show up for yourself. That's showing up for yourself. And that's trusting God in that time. That whatever the checklist, the things, the worry, the planning, all the things that you think you should be doing, you're saying to God that I trust you and I thank you for this opportunity to sit still and rest. So remember to show up for yourself, be intentional, and expect great things. I'm looking forward to this final rollout this week. We're on day 14, so we're um getting to that part where we're winding down the challenge, and then we're going to keep going with intentional healthy habits throughout this year. But congratulate yourself, celebrate yourself today with rest, and I look forward to seeing you on tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. And if you have some testimonies, feel free to reach out to me because I'd love to hear what God is doing for you. Have a good day.